All right, guys, here we are. Episode number 2, actually 3, of the Unbroken Athletic Podcast. In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the idea of strength, one of the second pillars of fitness. And so if you're listening to this podcast and this is your first time listening, head back to our previous ones and get the lowdown of how we're going to do the next couple of episodes. And so here we are with Coach Jeremy, Coach Vince, and Coach Shanna. All right. Man, I hope that didn't blow out the speaker.
No, it
didn't look like it. All right. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey.
Fancy attire you got? Yeah? Yeah. Just normal casual gear.
Regular Thursday.
Podcast number 3, guys. So, well, actually, technically, podcast number 2.
Yeah, you know it's 3.
But,
We're
yeah,
killing it.
getting a bunch of random people liking our first podcast. So I guess we're just going to keep them going, right?
Why not?
All right. So this podcast is the second episode of the overall 5 pillars of fitness. And we are talking about strength today, which is one of my favorite topics. So we're going to go ahead and give this a 20-minute AMRAP. And we're going to start that now. All right, so the topic of strength, guys, like, this is a big one for me. I don't know about y'all, but I like to lift up heavy stuff.
It's really hard to take you serious.
If you guys are just listening to the podcast, you might want to check out our YouTube channel because we are killing it in the booth today.
It's unbelievable.
I know, it's so bright in here. So I got my sunglasses on. I saw in a movie once, it was like, why do you wear your sunglasses at night? And you'd be like, because when you're this cool, the sun be shining on you all the time. Right? It's classy.
So does that lead you? Are you feeling strength because of that? Feeling strong?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I felt like that's why we all have.
All right, so let's I guess get serious, right?
Maybe.
Okay, so when the topic of strength comes up, anybody want to kind of? Shannon wants to roll with it. I mean, she's raising her hand, so we're gonna go ahead and let her roll with it.
Oh man, I love strength, and mostly because coming from a women's perspective, I'm gonna say the number one thing I hear from women when they walk in the gym door. Now we own a CrossFit gym, so they see us lifting heavy weights and stuff like that. The number one thing I hear is, I want to be fit, but I don't want to be bulky. Am I going to get bulky? Is this going to make me bulky? Am I getting bulky? And that is the number one concern that I hear from women. I don't think, do dudes say that ever? No. They're like, please, can I get bulky?
All I do is sets of 1 or 2. Am I going to get bulky? Yes.
Yeah.
Sign me up. $1,000? Yes, please.
So I guess I want to hit that point, but I want to talk about the benefits of strength training. Number one, sometime in your 30s, you start losing muscle mass if you don't do anything. And even if you do anything, you're still going to lose it. And it's like 3 to 5% of your muscle mass that you lose automatically if you're not doing anything. And I think that's per decade or per year. It's per year. So that's pretty significant. And so that is, your bone density, your mobility, your ability to not be injured, your body composition, which we'll talk about another week on one of the pillars of fitness. But there's so many benefits to strength training that people overlook because they think they're going to get bulky. Mostly women. I don't think that men do that, but I think for women mostly, just like, I just want to sometimes shake them and be like, listen, if you're going to get bulky, it's going to be because you're putting in a ton of hours. It's like saying, I don't want to get in my car and drive too fast because I might be like a NASCAR driver.
What's that one meme? Like, it's always like, working out doesn't make you bulky. Lifting weights doesn't make you bulky. Eating too many cupcakes does. Right?
Right. Exactly. So for me, I'm super passionate about teaching women how to lift heavy because I feel like they hold back, because they're afraid of that getting bulky. But I can almost guarantee you will not get bulky. If you are a woman, you're listening to my voice right now, you will not get bulky. Unless you are doing a lot more than just lifting weights 3 to 4 times a week.
I mean, was it an average of 1,000 calories extra a day?
Yeah, to be able to build
1 pound. Isn't it like 1 pound of muscle?
It's 500. Yeah, it's like 500 to 1,000 depending. But
even in women, isn't it like most nearly impossible because of the amount of testosterone in a woman versus versus a man? So like you see men building muscle fat a lot faster than women just because science.
Right. So they'll see, I guess maybe it comes from like bodybuilders. You'll see bodybuilders on stage and be like, okay, I don't want to look like that. Well, those women mostly, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but most of them
they live in the gym.
Yeah, they live in the gym. They're training little tiny muscle group. Like they're training specifically to train like one little tiny muscle to be able to see when they're at like, 5% or 6% body fat, or they don't get down that low, I don't think, but maybe 8 or 9% body fat for some of them to be able to see all those muscles. But at the same time, they're also doing a lot with their diet. They're also doing a lot with a whole bunch of different supplements that'll block, estrogen or increase testosterone and stuff like that to be able to build muscle. So women, you will not get bulky when you touch a barbell. Promise.
I mean, I guess it comes down to, it's like, what are you looking for? I mean, that's how when we first started doing CrossFit, I mean, that was our biggest thing, was send somebody to the regionals, send somebody to the games. That's what we programmed for. It's what we, it was our main focus, was to get our name out there, was because that's like the biggest thing in the CrossFit box. It's like, is your CrossFit box producing CrossFit level athletes or competitors? And that's what I always thought it was, until we opened up our second one, which is Unbroken Athletic. Is, now it's like, maybe that's not the main focus. That's the upper, those people that are competing at regionals, competing at the CrossFit Games, and they have that competitive style. That's like the top 2%. Right. The top 2% is not going to keep the lights on at the end of the day. And let's face it, and all of them can develop, all of them, from the elite level CrossFitter to the stay-at-home mom that's just trying to keep up with their kids. They can all benefit from the same style of programming. It's just modifications over time. And then, the biggest thing for that is we realized that we needed to start catering to that other 98% of the group, and started tailoring our programs to that GPP, or general physical preparedness. That originally why so many people, like the early adopters, fell in love with CrossFit, is because of, it wasn't the boring bodybuilder routine. And if there's bodybuilders out there, hey man, I got nothing against anything that they do. I mean, that's dedication. That's 100% dedication.
Yeah,
being a bodybuilder. I mean, you have to give up so much to compete on that level or scale. But like I said, I mean, it's the same way with elite level CrossFitters. I mean, you, for example, I mean, how many days a week, were you in the gym? And I'm not even talking about days a week really, but like, how many hours per day were you committed to thinking nothing about CrossFit? And that's not even like in the gym. That's also what you eat, what you drink, where you sleep, when you sleep, how much training you get. I mean, how many hours?
It was unbelievable. And I wasn't even an elite CrossFitter. I mean, it was 2 years ago that I just started going in and going, hey, I want to at least even make it to regionals, and I still haven't made it there. But like, you're basically eating, sleeping, training, CrossFit. That's it. That's all you think about constantly. I mean, I remember I was at work, and I would constantly listen to YouTube videos. I wasn't watching them, but I would be listening to them, listening to the elite athletes talking about mindset and trying to figure out, okay, this is what I need to do next, and this, and it's just, you're constantly thinking about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where, and I think we kind of I drifted a little bit off topic, but 'tis expected. Typical. It's the sunglasses. Makes it worth it, right? No, but that's the thing is, we started catering to that, the 98%, the people that wanted to keep up with their kids, the ones that can benefit from the strength. I mean, we just had a client that's, they're on vacation and hiking, and he was able to carry his son on his back for like a mile out of the 4 miles. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what we're training for. That's the type of client that we're getting for. That's what strength is
Right.
for the common person. And people need to realize that, if you're not doing anything, if you're not picking up anything like weight wise, I mean, you just think about going to Costco. That's a perfect example. I mean, nothing there is under 20 pounds unless it's like a stack of shirts or something, I mean, you got to pick up water. You got to pick up dog food. Dog food's 55 pounds, and you got to pick that up and put it in your truck or vehicle. I mean, that's the kind of thing that, you need to train strength for. And also, I mean, you have people, and it's been prevalent in a lot of these other CrossFit gyms across the world, across the country. I mean, even in the world, it's like, 65 plusers, people that are 65 years of age that are still going in, still lifting weights, doing box squats, that sort of thing. They're still training that strength aspect. So saying that strength is going to get you bulky is just another, I think, in my opinion, just a cop out. I mean, it's just a reason that somebody can go and look at a fitness facility that might necessarily scare them, and then just turn around and say, this is going to make me bulky. I don't want to be bulky. And when really what it is I don't want to work hard. I don't want to be subjected to something that's going to make me look dumb. And I don't want to I feel overly intimidated by your music and by you dropping weights everywhere, and it kind of scares me. Rather than saying, this is kind of intimidating, and just kind of, I don't know, suck it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I get it. It's scary. Like walking through a CrossFit gym for the first time, it freaks you out. But at the end of the day, like, if you just kind of sit back and realize that not everybody trains for the CrossFit Games, but that's like saying anyone that touches a football is going to be a football player. Anyone that touches a basketball is going to be a basketball player. And the reality of that is, 147 kids out of all the schools in all of the United States make it into the NBA? 140 kids. I think so. Isn't that right?
It's
or like
low.
57?
NBA,
NFL, any professional sport.
I mean,
So
it's
that's
less
what's
than 1%.
So that's what people are putting this CrossFit thing in, is being like, anytime that you go into a CrossFit gym, they're just going to train you like you're going to the CrossFit Games. And I'll tell you what, if you want to be trained like you're going to the CrossFit Games, it's going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
Because no coach anywhere that I know of is giving away free programming to coach you to the CrossFit Games. And so when you're looking at strength training on a CrossFit scale, and I'm not saying that everyone that listens to the podcast is going to be in CrossFit or doing CrossFit. Maybe they just want a powerhouse kind of style, or a power gym or whatever, and there's just dumbbells and whatever. But the thing is like, you can't just look at what CrossFit is, that it's this weightlifting program that it's going to get you. You're going to be doing handstand walks. You're going to be doing muscle ups. You're going to be doing, deadlifts. You might do a slight variation of that, but just understand that that's not exactly what happens on a typical day in our world at all.
Well, I think too, like when you're talking about like one of our clients carrying his son on his back for a mile, like that to me is what strength is about too. Like it's about living your life at a high quality where your fitness level doesn't stop you from doing the things that you want to do. Whether that's lifting up your kids or lifting up a case of water, that's like a nightmare to pick out of a cart, right? Carrying your kid, just doing the things that you want to do without being limited as you age, right? When you're 25, you don't really think about your health, like you wake up and you don't feel like your body. When you start aging, you start feeling your body. And the only way to prevent that like breakdown is to use your muscles. Like you have to build them, and to build them, you have to lift heavy. And I think too, a lot of people are scared to lift heavy weights, right? But when we're talking about strength, we're talking about ripping down our muscles so that they can be rebuilt while we sleep. And if we're not lifting heavy, if we're doing, 5-pound weights over and over and over, 15 or something that's like a manageable weight, then, it takes a little bit more than that. It takes a little bit more work, and you have coaches that are leading these classes that will show you how to do it the right way, so you don't have to be scared. And I think I remember when I first started, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so little. I'm a 5'3", and I'm lifting, I don't know, I had like 200 pounds on my back or whatever. But to me, that was like really heavy. I'm like, I have 200 pounds on my back, and this is so scary. I'm gonna like just break my bones or my back when I go down. But I didn't. And what I did to kind of like break through that fear is I went on YouTube and I just started looking up women weightlifters, Olympic weightlifters. And then I see these girls that are, Olympic weightlifters that are doing 400, 500 pounds back squats, deadlifting like, more than the men. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to break. That's fine. And then I was able to like push past that barrier.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you kind of touched on something where like, as a strength athlete, I guess you could say, because CrossFitters are pretty strong, whether you're the everyday CrossFitter in the gym or CrossFit Games athlete. The strength portion also plays on that mindset too. Like I remember when I went into my first CrossFit gym, it was like I couldn't put 95 pounds over my head without being deathly afraid that I was going to drop it. I wasn't sure if my shoulders were strong enough. And now I'm snatching 175, and it's like, I enjoy putting it over my head now. So like being able to not only do that, but also mentally be able to prove to yourself, hey, like, this is awesome now. Like I enjoy doing this is I think a part of that strength aspect too, because not now, if you guys are talking about little kids, my little nephews now, if I want to, I could pick them up over my head and just be able to like, play around with them and everything. Yeah. And they love that. So it's like, just knowing that you can do it and being able to get over some of those fears is an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I think too. Yeah, like mindset too. If you come into the gym, and this is for like anybody that's doing any kind of like strength training, if you go in and you're thinking like, this is heavy, I can't do this, I'm not supposed to be doing this, whatever, then you're not going to. Mm-hmm. Like it's 100% mental. And one of the things that I always say before I go lift anything heavy, especially PRs, that's like a mental thing. You're like, I've never lifted this before, my body's not capable, and you're like already running through all these negative things. I walk up to the bar and I say lightweight. And I say it like when I'm coaching classes.
I think that's a Ronnie Coleman thing.
Coleman.
That's a Ronnie Coleman thing.
Well, wherever I heard it from, it actually works, because then you're like thinking, this is lightweight, I can do this. And then normally you can. You have to believe it a little bit, But if you walk in and you're already feeling defeated and you're already like, oh, this is too heavy, I'm a girl, I shouldn't be lifting weights, oh, my butt's going to get big, I'm going to get bulky, whatever, then you're not going to lift weight. Because you already like defeated yourself before you walked up to that bar. So, yeah, I think so much of that strength starts in the mind before you even touch the barbell.
I would agree.
Right? So, you're not going to dive under a bar that you think you can't catch.
So, I guess with the last couple minutes that we have, what are the basic components of kind of like a baseline strength that most people should be focusing on? And I'm not talking about mindset. I'm talking about physical aspects. And it's not just so that you can look good in a bathing suit. Most people just want to look good naked. So, I mean,
like,
is that strength, or is that just
being able, like we were talking about,
physical?
Older generations, being able just to get yourself off the toilet.
Yeah.
That's a squat. You're going down, you're getting yourself back up. That's pretty pivotal. Yeah. As you get older, anything from that to the typical example of groceries. Being able to, in one setting, take your groceries from your car to whether it's in your house, in your apartment, not be out of breath, like being able to do that type of stuff is awesome.
Every time I walk in, I'm like, this is what I'm training for. Like my arms are loaded up.
So basically, if you were to train specific parts or as the body and a whole, like, is there anything such as spot training?
Oh, no. And I think we should talk about that, spot training and body composition. So, like, how do I get rid of this fat right here on my arm that wiggles when I wave? So I think we should talk about that in body composition. But I feel like if you're doing strength training, then you need to do sets. You need to do a whole bunch of different things, not just like 3 sets of 10 or whatever. But you also need to focus on big muscle groups and functional movements, meaning pulling your body weight, squatting, getting up off the ground,
shoulders,
picking
core,
stuff up off the ground, something
stuff
that
like
targets big muscle groups, not doing like bicep curls.
There's a place for that, but it's
right.
not
functional.
Yeah,
it's not functional because you don't do that anywhere, like
Unless
anywhere
you're messing
outside
with
of the
kids.
gym,
Curling
right?
your
So
kids.
most people are in the gyms doing bodybuilder circuits, and they don't understand why they're not seeing results because they're not eating like a bodybuilder, they're not training like a bodybuilder, they're just doing the circuits 3 times a week, and they're like, well, why don't I look like that?
Why don't I have results?
But if you're training your big muscles, then that is what will get you the most results, and that's what we focus on in CrossFit.
And again, not to bash bodybuilders or anything. I mean, they, like we said, they're amazing. You know, human beings have a mindset like no other. And I know some bodybuilders that do functional movements, but I think CrossFit's main component of strength is, hey, you're gonna do functional movements.
Yeah. And I think so. I totally am not bashing on them either because their discipline level is so much higher than like anyone on the entire planet.
I think their discipline level is higher than anyone like I know.
Yeah.
I mean, physically, I mean.
But I use that example because maybe it's so popular, and
right.
when you think about muscle, they're like on muscle magazines and the ones that are competing on the way that they look, and so I think that's why we talk about them more than
But that would be, again, we touched on it before, but that'd be just like a CrossFit Games athlete. I mean, you look at them and you're like, I can never.
Yeah, the dedication level is just amazing.
It's completely different than.
Okay. So, strength, necessary or not necessary?
Necessary.
I think that's kind of a hard, like, why would I even ask that question?
I think if you were going to skip something, like if you had to pick, every single day I would skip the Metcon.
I would skip the Metcon over the strength every day. Just because squatting is life.
Metcon or cardio. Squatting is life. Like, always do squats if you had it.
All right, guys, we reached the top of our 20-minute AMRAP, and so we're going to close this one down. So make sure that you guys like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. If you think we have something interesting to share with your friends, go ahead and share.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring.
Do it.
Sharing's like giving somebody your last piece of white chicken.
Oh, man. That's hard.
It is. Especially when
not
chicken
that
is
hard.
life, too. Chicken and squats are life. New shirt coming out next week. No, but be sure to check out also our online store. We just opened that, launched that today. So if you are interested, I'll post the link in our YouTube and show notes. We have Unbroken Athletic teams, tees, t-shirts, and muscle tanks for women. 2 different colors. Awesomeness. Would this actually count like as part of our AMRAP, or is this just ramblings?
I think this is ramblings.
Ramblings.
I hope so.
Perfect. Okay. So, check us out next week when we have pillar number 3, which would be endurance. Maybe we'll get a guest speaker on.
Ooh.
Ooh. All right, guys. Thanks.
Peace.
Bye-bye.